Welcome to Brainstorm MTG. I'm ELD, and this is Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering, now from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. And up we have Cephalid Breakfast versus Pile Souza on Grixis Control. A deck he's done extremely well with here. Kind of a nightmare match. We'll see what happens. Nomad and Core is met with Fatal Push, and it looks like actually going to force a will pitching Limdual's Vault, so trying to push through an early win here. A pretty bad matchup. Really, Cephalid Breakfast's best hope in most instances is going to be people not being totally familiar with it. And here's a Stoneforge Mystic that can grab a Batter Skull and start playing a fair game, or Shuko and try and continue on this path toward the combo. See if this is doable. And we've got a Baleful Strix coming down here. Another Tundra. 2 mana, Cephalid Illusionist. That may require forcing here. And it does. Force pitch Ponder. Ponder from Cephalid Breakfast here finds not another Illusionist, but a Dread Return. That could potentially be hard cast. And it looks like there's a Polluted Delta in hand. Shuko and Dread Return off of Thoughtseize. Shuko is taken. And Brainstorm now. Cavern of Soul, Mother of Runes, and Aether Vial. Aether Vial, a great way to get around counters as well as Cavern of Souls is. The deck does have a lot of ways to force through the creatures. Of course, you still need to resolve your Dread Return at the end of the combo. So counter magic is still a problem. And here's Liliana of the Last Hope. And she is just a brutal card. Able to slaughter all of the combo pieces effortlessly while ticking up. A real nightmare for Cephalid Breakfast. And here we see Limdual's Vault on top. That's a heck of a card. Baleful Strix chipping in. Inquisition of Kozilek is met with Limdual's Vault. Of course, Limdual's Vault doesn't even get a card into your hand, so no biggie there. Not good enough in the first 5. Next 5 does see Nomad and Core and an additional mana source. So with just Dread Return in hand, we may be able to get to 5 mana. And both Dread Return and Nomad and Core in the same turn. Kyle have any more counter spells? Question. Really thinking through these 5. So staying pat with those ones. Inquisition resolving, showing just Dread Return, unable to take the forecasting cost card. And, ooh, it looks like K Command is in hand. Could have been used to force the discard of Dread Returns. That would potentially feel pretty bad. That is usually where the card belongs. And here we go, Nomad and Core. And once that resolves, got Dread Return. A command not really having, like, this is not the best timing. And oh no, now the Nomad and Core's redirect ability is actually going to become relevant. That is brutal. So it's going to pass off the damage to the Stoneforge Mystic, and the combo has been assembled. So we are off to the races. For those unfamiliar, we're going to start milling through the entire deck. Nomad and Core redirects the next 1 damage to a target of its choice. Cephalid Illusionist, whenever it's targeted, you mill the top 3 cards of your library, and you're just setting up these constant redirect shields, so to speak, and they really just about targeting. Cabal Therapy shows that the way is clear. We're going to see some more Narcomoebas enter the battlefield. And that's going to be enough bodies to Dread Return, target Angel of Glory's Rise, sacking those 3 creatures there, and then Angel of Glory's Rise is going to wipe out all the zombies on board, but more importantly, bring back those 2 humans, Azami and Labman, tap to draw, and that is a game with Labman's win condition. So that is it for game 1 through a Liliana, and definitely picked up some huge percentage points there with just slightly suboptimal play versus this unusual deck. You know, the Kolgan's command could have potentially been used to slow things down there. And who's to say how it would have went after that? But the way the game played out was preventable with that Kolgan's command. The combo is pretty cheap, though. It is a lot to ask to keep you off of the 3 mana necessary to just cast both pieces in the same turn. So while Liliana is really brutal as you're kind of slowly assembling your combo, if you do it in 1 turn, you do at least get past the ability for her to murder your whole team for the benefit of adding counters to her. We'll see what Kyle has for game number 2 here. A lot of time people bring in Graveyard Hate. It is a graveyard-based deck to a degree. It almost always uses the graveyard, but you can't sleep on the Batterskull plan either. Of course, he does have those Kolgan's commands, which can potentially destroy the Batterskull itself. More often than not, you kind of find yourself in a situation where you kill the Germ token and then respond to the return of Batterskull by destroying it. Very difficult to just target Batterskull, as they can pay 3 mana and return it to their hand. And the game at that point is usually a bit of a standstill, or they're actually just straight up on the offensive. It can be very difficult to find the window to actually blow it up unless you can kill the Germ and force them to return it to reset the clock. Or, you know, pay 5 mana to equip it to another creature. That is a very slow way to target Cephalid Illusionist, 5 mana at a time. Not nearly as good as Shuko in terms of targeting it, but, you know, you do get the mill. Mother of Runes also plays that role in the deck if you're ever in a pinch. There are times where that is actually useful to be able to target your Cephalid Illusionist just to potentially hit Narcomoebas and Cabal Therapies, potentially gain a little bit of an edge, and kind of open up the window later on down the line. And we should be off to game 2 here. I think we were discussing a little bit of what could have been done differently in that game. When Cephalid Breakfast is being played, mistakes will generally be made. Often at playing Cephalid Breakfast is the mistake, who's to say? But there are really not a lot of players who test against it, and it's quite a bit out of the general consciousness of legacy players. It's not really, I can tell you that even against very experienced legacy players, you generally have to walk them through it. Here we go. Kyle taking a look at his opener. I may actually be helping a customer here. I am actually proud owner of ELD's Time of All Games now. Opened up my own card shop here in Bellingham, Massachusetts, and actually played in this event, as you can see, to make a even 16 players, which is just phenomenal for a Wednesday night. I'm super happy with the support from the community here. It's just been tremendous. It's really exceptional to see so many people, you know, both locally and people driving a bit of a ways to get in here and play some legacy. And, you know, the quality of play, as I look around the room, is, you know, you can tell. I mean, it goes up week after week. Steel sharpens steel, and, you know, people definitely benefit from having a bunch of other legacy players in the room who can, you know, kind of help you hone your skill set. Looks like Angel of Glory's Rise going to the bin where it belongs, and I think it was Grand Abolisher was the other white card. Might have been Mother of Runes. Grand Abolisher, a spicy card. There is a singleton copy in there because it does come back with your Angel of Glory's Rise. It is a human, and that does prevent kind of the last-minute shenanigans that might happen. You know, a card like Sudden Shock could potentially be an issue. We're going pretty deep there. I've never run into that and probably never will. Brainstorm here from Kyle, being a surgical and Force of Will, so he's going to have some interaction for the combo here, even though this Aether Vial will make it very difficult to interact with the creatures themselves. Going to be able to get those in for very low cost of just tapping Aether Vial. Really going to add up to quite a mana advantage, especially given that it doesn't look like there's any other lands in hand. And untap into Nomad, and we actually have just right now activating Aether Vial and Surgical Extraction, targeting Angel of Glory's Rise, force back. So Angel of Glory's Rise being exiled. This is a very interesting game state now. Kyle, far from safe, still going to be able to combo off and get Cabal Therapies along with the Narcomoebas. See what is in the rest of his hand. There's the Narcomoeba. Barring another Surgical Extraction, this could be a big problem. There's a Cabal Therapy. Probably, yeah, gonna fire that off now and really see exactly what's going on. Snapcaster and Inquisition. This is more dangerous than Kyle recognizes. So I did switch the kill, as you saw, to Angel of Glory's Rise. There was another build that used the Mimeoplasm along with Lord of Extinction and Murderous Redcap, and that would basically create a gigantic Murderous Redcap to dome your opponent for like 50 damage. But it's a little bit more fragile, and here we're actually picking up a game because of this superior win. Gonna just Dread Return the Lab Man, get out a Mother of Runes as potential Diabolic Edict fodder, and there it is, a brick off the top. And Cephalid Breakfast takes it down versus Grixis Control in 2.